What's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Niners News here on 49ers Hive. My name is Zach Hernandez, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Matt Llewellyn. And today we're going to be giving you an update on some 49ers injuries. Matt, Tuesday, we discussed all the 49ers injuries that happened from the Seattle Seahawks game. And as we're recording this, there are a few updates. Most importantly, Jimmy Garoppolo. This update's coming out, and it's not as serious as they thought it was. Apparently, he has a chance to play depending on how he rehabs and feels later on this week. Is this surprising to you at all?
No. Yes and no, right? We talked about on Tuesday when I said, hey, put your conspiracy theory hat on. Maybe this was a little gamesmanship from Kyle to kind of save face for Jimmy Garoppolo in terms of putting Trey Lance in the game, seeing what they had, and then all of a sudden, if Trey doesn't do what they think that he should be doing, then all of a sudden Jimmy comes back and, he's the conquering hero or whatever. When Jimmy says, oh, it felt like somebody stepped on my leg, but I don't think anybody actually did. And then they come out and go, oh, it's a calf contusion. And, somebody asked Jimmy, is it going to, do you feel like it's an Achilles? And he kind of awkwardly laughs and goes, oh, I hope not. There's a lot of weird things, happening with that. And I'm not going to go so far as to be like they faked the injury or whatever, but I really do think that they were taking an opportunity to kind of get Trey's feet wet and see what he would be able to do. And being ultra conservative, if there was any type of injury whatsoever, they were just going to pull Jimmy right off the bat and just see what they had in Trey. And I think that's kind of what happened. I don't know. I think this is just going to further divide the fan base because like I've said, a lot of us are on the might as well play Trey Lance type of deal. If anything, I could see Jimmy Garoppolo going out there starting and then it's like, oh, he couldn't go. Bring Trey back in once the game's out of reach. And then get Trey ready for his true first start after the bye week. That's really kind of what I'm feeling right now. It's unfortunate because as we addressed in what things Kyle could do to improve as a coach, that's kind of one of those things where I think he plays around a little too much, and I think he tries to get a little too cute and too smart for his own good. And I don't know. I don't understand, what's happening right now with the quarterback situation. I don't think any of us know. If Jimmy is not, if he was injured and he's not as badly injured as we thought, good for him, because I never want to wish injury on anybody. But if this is that gamesmanship that it kind of reeks of, it's kind of pretty transparent what's going on, then, it's unfortunate, I think. I think it's kind of like pulling the rug out from under not only Trey, but really under Jimmy too, and it's just, I think that it's just going to build resentment and animosity. And so Kyle has to be very careful. If Jimmy's truly injured, then it is what it is. But if this is Kyle playing games, it's not good.
I agree. It's very interesting. And we'll have to see, I guess, what goes on if Jimmy feels better later in the week. Does he play? And I think that's where the real decision comes down. And this is what I was trying to ask people on Twitter yesterday. If Jimmy is able to play, do you still roll with Trey? And I think they should. I think they should still roll with Trey because we all saw him get better as the half went on. And I think he'll only continue to get better with the reps. He's not going to get better with a baseball cap and clipboard on the sidelines. He needs the real in-game reps in order to improve. We know what Jimmy is. We know Jimmy's ceiling. If guys like Trent Williams, who we'll get into his injury updates as well, cannot go, then you're putting Jimmy behind a shaky offensive line, and he's not as mobile as Trey Lance. Does he risk getting re-injured? These are all things that I think need to be taken into consideration when making a decision like this. But I think the rest of the updates to the injuries, Trent Williams, which is the biggest one, definitely not as serious as we feared. He's saying he's day-to-day, has a good shot at playing against the Arizona Cardinals as well. Robbie Gould is going to be out a while with a groin injury, which is very unfortunate because he sustained this injury in warmups on Sunday against the Seahawks. Kittle with a calf injury is also day-to-day. Javon Kinlaw is day-to-day also with a calf injury, and Sensum Ebicom is day-to-day with some hamstring soreness. Robbie Gould's unfortunate. That whole situation has just been crap ever since he got that money. But Trent Williams, what a sigh of relief, because we were all expecting him to miss a few weeks. It seemed like the severity of his injury was pretty high.
I know that there was fear that it was going to be something serious. I guess there's some fluid on the shoulder. Who knows what that was from? It doesn't look like it's structural, which is good. But we'll see if he can go. I think that if he can go, then okay, maybe you put Jimmy back there. If he can't, you absolutely have to roll Trey Lance, because you're going to get Jimmy Garoppolo obliterated if you start somebody else. And, it sucks to say that, but what we have, again, this is one of those issues like at corner. The depth of this team's offensive line has just kind of been neglected. And they're like, oh, well, our frontline guys are enough. And then it's like, well, if your frontline guys get injured, what are you left with? And the cupboards are pretty bare. So you're looking at maybe exposing Jimmy Garoppolo, if he is playing on a calf that is, injured or whatever. It may not be as bad as you thought, but it's still an injury. You're even limiting his already limited mobility further and potentially exposing him to getting absolutely walloped. And this is a Cardinals defensive line with Jones and Watt that can absolutely just manhandle backup offensive linemen like no problem. And so, Jones already had a game where he had 5 sacks. So I don't know what the goal is. It's unfortunate that they're in this position with injuries, but if Trent Williams isn't able to go, that's going to make it even worse. I'm glad that he's relatively okay, but I would think that if there's any question in terms of if he's ready or not, and even with Jimmy as well during the reevaluations, and we'll touch on their final status as we preview the game on this weekend, but if there's any question, I would say just hold him out, because there's potential there against a really good Cardinals defensive front for not only Jimmy to get injured, but if you play Trent Williams and he's not ready, that could just strain that shoulder even more, causing more problems. So they have to be very careful with how they approach this, because it's, Jimmy's important to the team for sure. Trent Williams is absolutely massive for this offense. So they have to be very careful.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, notably, Robbie Gold is apparently going to be out a few weeks. I can't.
Yeah. The only thing I want to say about that, because kickers, whatever, you can't put Wish out there and have him kicking field goals.
Please,
you need to try out a kicker and sign one.
Yeah, I agree. And they will be bringing in kickers apparently this week to try and fill his spot. Shout out to Mitch. He did his best. I saw some fans throwing hate at him somehow. He was wearing multiple hats. He was doing his best, being asked to do stuff that's not in his, job title description. So shout out to Mitch. Also, the injury updates that we learned today, Elijah Mitchell is cleared to practice. He will not be in that blue no contact jersey. This is huge. Sermon looked really good. I think he had something like 18 carries for 89 yards Sunday against the Seahawks.
17 for 89, yeah.
17 for 89. And now we'll have Elijah Mitchell, who looked good before getting injured,
Yeah.
Also returning. So that should be a nice 1-2 punch for the Niners if he's able to go Sunday against the Cardinals. That's big.
Yeah, it seems like he should be. If they're taking the no contact jersey off, that kind of tells me that he's ready to go.
Yeah. So I'm excited for that. It looks like they got out of the game with minor bumps and bruises, scrapes and bruises. We were looking at Trent Williams a few weeks. Jimmy Garoppolo himself said it was probably be a couple of weeks. We'll see. I do think that, Matt, you have a point there where how severe was this injury if 12 hours later, 24 hours later, we can come out and say, oh, he'll probably be good for Sunday. I'm not, you're going to call me conspiracy theorist, whoever's watching this, I get it. But I think it's interesting because the politics come into play here. And maybe Kyle Shanahan was trying to have his cake and eat it too. Give Trey a shot. If it doesn't work out, he can go back to Jimmy. If Trey did look good, he can say we're rolling with Trey. Perhaps that's what's happened here. I don't know. We don't want to speculate, but it is weird how this all played out from a couple of weeks to now probably back.
Yeah. It's let's just hope that Kyle's doing the right thing. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, we'll leave it there, guys. these are the injury updates as we're recording. If there are more, we'll break it down in our live stream preview show. Come join us this weekend. We'll announce the time later on our Twitter. Follow us. Our individual handles will be on the screen. You can follow us at 49ers Hive on Twitter, Instagram, the whole 9 yards. Go check us out. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching another episode of Niners News. Hit like, hit subscribe. You know what to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for joining us as always. We love having you here. And until next time, go Niners.